Hello, this is your principal, Valerie Newton, with this week's edition of Hear Me Roar, Academics. In this episode, I will continue with the attributes of an accomplished teacher for domains 2D and 3D. Again, these are shared with you to prepare all instructional staff at Greco to work at the accomplished level consistently. 2D, managing student behavior. In order for students to be able to engage deeply with content, the classroom environment must be orderly. The atmosphere must feel businesslike and productive without being authoritative. In a productive classroom, standards of conduct are clear to students. They know what they are permitted to do and what they can expect of their classmates. Even when their behavior is being corrected, students feel respected. Their dignity is not undermined. Skilled teachers regard positive student behavior not as an end in itself, but as a prerequisite to high levels of engagement in content. The evidence of that, assistance request form is used for student interventions. Data from incidents indicates effective management. There are clear standards of conduct that are posted and referred to during a lesson. Effective desist, orderly environment even in hallways when moving from one room to the next. There's an absence of hostility, perception of fairness among students. Teacher awareness of student conduct, withedness, absence of misbehavior. Preventive action when needed by the teacher. The teacher circulates to monitor and uses proximity control. Not confrontational and create buy-in or a win-win situation. 3D, using assessment and learning. Assessment of student learning plays an important role in instruction. No longer does it signal the end of instruction. It is now recognized to be an integral part of instruction. While assessment of learning has always been and will continue to be an important aspect of teaching, it's important for teachers to know whether students have learned what they intend. Assessment for learning has increasingly come to play an important role in classroom practice. And in order to assess student learning for the purpose of the instruction, teachers must have their finger on the pulse of a lesson, monitoring student understanding, offering feedback to students, and where appropriate, making minor adjustments to the lesson. When teachers monitor student learning, they look carefully at what students are writing and listen carefully to the questions students ask in order to gauge whether they require additional activity or explanation in order to grasp the content. Many teachers create questions specifically to elicit the extent of student understanding and use techniques such as exit tickets to ascertain the degree of understanding of every student in the class. Student work is graded routinely and feedback is timely. Teachers analyze results from strand and item analysis and uses it to drive instruction. Teacher knows when students are ready for formal assessments. They pay close attention to evidence of student understanding. Pose specifically created questions to elicit evidence of student understanding, circulates to monitor student learning, checks for understanding, and offers feedback. Students assess their own work against an established criteria like a rubric. Behavior. One of the key performance indicators we monitor is attendance. In order for us to accurately track attendance and improve our students' attendance, it is important that we all work together. The foundation of good attendance is an engaging classroom and a positive school culture. For most of our students, that is enough. However, for those that do not come to school regularly, it is up to us to have systems in place to encourage students to come to school. Some strategies used are Cub Bucks and our Roaring Cub celebrations. However, an even more crucial part of our plan is having our first period teachers call home when students accumulate 5 unexcused absences. This is important because it allows students and their families to know that their child's presence is missed when they are not in school and they are missing important work. All first period teachers are asked to check in with your team leaders to make sure you are up to date with your attendance phone calls. Greco teachers roar with pride. Hats off to the Field Day Committee led by Mr. Folkroad and Mrs. Nkrumah. Their hard work and planning allowed all of us to have a great day. What's coming up? Our next school-wide event is our Career Day that will be held on March the 7th. It is the expectation that everyone participate in the planning of one of these school-wide events. If you didn't work on the Field Day Committee, Mrs. Blake will be contacting you to assist with Career Expo. As always, remember to review the calendar on Greco Internal and the sign-in calendar for a complete listing of upcoming activities. That's all for this episode. Have a great week, and remember, we are roaring louder and stronger together.